He served. He worked on himself. He prayed for a wife every single night for many years. He did everything his church told him to do, and he's still single. Not because God forgot him, but because some of what he was taught wasn't biblical. It was Christian culture disguised as scripture. There are 6 lies that get repeated so often in churches that single men assume they're in the Bible. They're not. And believing them might be the very thing keeping you single. Today I'm going to expose each one. Not with opinions, but with what scripture actually says about finding a wife. And I promise you, at least one of these will make you angry. Let's start with the lie that sounds the most spiritual but might be the most damaging. This is the big one. The lie that has paralyzed an entire generation of Christian men. Just pray, be patient, and God will drop a wife in your lap when the time is right. It sounds humble. It sounds like faith. But look at what scripture actually shows us. When Abraham needed a wife for Isaac, he didn't tell his son to sit in a tent and pray about it. He sent a servant on a journey. He gave him resources. He gave him criteria. He sent him to a specific place to actively find a suitable wife. Yes, the servant prayed, but he prayed while standing next to a well in the town where eligible women would come. He positioned himself for an answer. Proverbs 18:22 says, "He who finds a wife finds a good thing." Notice the verb, finds. Not he who sits and waits for a wife. Not he who spiritualizes his passivity. Finds, it's an action. Proverbs 31 describes a woman of noble character, and then says, "He who finds her." Again, finds. Boaz didn't have a vision that Ruth was his wife. He saw a woman of character gleaning in his field, was attracted to her integrity, and took initiative. He pursued. He provided. He proposed. Here's the truth. Prayer without pursuit is not faith. It's avoidance with religious language. God gave you eyes to see, wisdom to discern, and legs to move. Use them, but this lie is connected to another one that's even more paralyzing. This one gets thrown at single men constantly. You need to be completely content in your singleness before God will give you a wife. If you desire marriage too much, you're making it an idol. Here's the problem. God himself said it's not good for man to be alone. Genesis 2:18. Before sin, before the fall, in a perfect world with perfect communion with God, walking in the garden in the cool of the day, God looked at Adam and said, "It is not good for the man to be alone." Adam had perfect fellowship with God, and it still wasn't enough for what God designed him to need. The desire for companionship isn't a deficiency in your faith. It's how God wired you. Now, Paul does talk about the gift of singleness in 1 Corinthians 7. But look at what he actually says. "I wish that all of you were as I am, but each of you has your own gift from God. One has this gift, another has that." Singleness is a specific gift given to specific people for specific purposes. It's not the default that everyone should achieve before being rewarded with marriage. If you burn with passion, Paul says, you should marry. That's his direct instruction. Not pray until the burning stops. Not be content with frustration. Marry. The desire for a wife is not an idol to overcome. It's a God-given drive to fulfill. Shaming men for wanting what God designed them to want is not spiritual wisdom. It's bad theology. But here's where it gets really dangerous. Because the third lie gives you an excuse to stay passive. The soulmate myth. The idea that somewhere out there is one perfect woman God designed specifically for you, and your job is to wait until you find her. It sounds romantic, but look at what it produces. It produces men who can't commit because they're waiting for a sign that never comes. It produces men who dismiss godly women because something doesn't feel right. It produces paralysis disguised as discernment. Now look at how marriages actually happen in Scripture. Isaac didn't choose Rebekah. His father's servant found her based on character criteria. Jacob wanted Rachel, worked 14 years, and God built a nation through Leah, the one he didn't choose. Ruth proposed to Boaz at a threshing floor based on his reputation and character. Where's the soulmate formula? Where's the lightning bolt of divine confirmation? Here's what Scripture actually teaches. Marriage is a covenant you build, not a feeling you find. Compatibility is created through decades of commitment, not discovered on a third date. The question isn't, is she the one? The question is, does she love Jesus? Does she have godly character? Am I attracted to her? Can I commit to building a life with her? If the answers are yes, you don't need a burning bush. You need a ring. But the fourth lie attacks something even more fundamental, and it's kept a lot of good men on the sidelines. Some churches teach this explicitly, others just imply it through shame. A godly man should only care about her heart. Physical attraction is shallow. If you're focused on her looks, your priorities are wrong. Have these people read Song of Solomon? An entire book of the Bible is a man and woman celebrating each other's physical beauty, in detail, with passion. God inspired it, preserved it, and put it in the canon. The lover in Song of Solomon doesn't say, "Your character is admirable," he says. "Your eyes are like doves. Your hair is like a flock of goats descending from Gilead. Your lips are like a scarlet ribbon." He's captivated by how she looks. Proverbs 5 tells husbands to be intoxicated by their wife's body. That word means drunk, overwhelmed, staggering with desire. That requires attraction. Here's the truth. God designed marriage to include physical intimacy for life. If you're not attracted to her, you're setting up both of you for decades of frustration. Now, attraction alone isn't enough. Proverbs 31-30 warns that charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting. Character matters more, but more doesn't mean only. Both matter. You're not shallow for wanting to be attracted to your wife. You're honest. And honesty before marriage prevents resentment during marriage. Find a woman whose character you admire and whose presence makes your heart beat faster. Scripture says you can have both. But the fifth lie is the one that's destroyed more potential marriages than any other. This lie sounds responsible. Get your career established. Pay off your debt. Buy a house. Get your life perfectly in order, then think about marriage. Meanwhile, your 20s become your 30s. Your 30s become your 40s. And you're still waiting to feel ready. Here's what Scripture actually shows us. Marriage is designed to be the context for building, not the reward for having already built. Jacob worked for Rachel while they were committed to each other. He didn't have wealth first. He built it during 14 years of working toward marriage. The commitment came before the prosperity. When God brought Eve to Adam, Adam hadn't accomplished anything yet. He had a job, tend the garden. He had purpose, but he didn't have a 401k, a house, or a 5-year plan. He had a calling and a willingness to work. Proverbs 24:27 says, "Put your outdoor work in order and get your fields ready. After that, build your house." Notice, it doesn't say finish your fields. It says get them ready. Have a plan. Be working. Then build. You don't need to be finished. You need to be faithful. A godly woman isn't looking for a perfect man. She's looking for a purposeful one. A man with direction, work ethic, and the humility to grow. If you're waiting until you have it all together, you'll wait forever. Because nobody ever has it all together. Marriage is two imperfect people building something beautiful together. But the final lie is the most subtle. And it might be the real reason you're still alone. This lie whispers, if she's really the one, you won't have doubts. The relationship will flow naturally. If it's hard, maybe it's not meant to be. Where is that in the Bible? Anywhere? Jacob's path to Rachel was filled with obstacles, deception, and setbacks. Was she not from God because the path was hard? Ruth had to leave her homeland, become a foreigner, work in fields as a gleaner, and take a massive social risk at the threshing floor before she married Boaz. Easy path? Hosea was commanded to marry a woman he knew would be unfaithful. Easy? Here's the truth. Difficulty is not evidence of being outside God's will. Sometimes difficulty is the very tool God uses to prepare you for the blessing. The enemy of your future marriage isn't difficulty. It's the lie that difficulty means stop. Sometimes difficulty means grow. Sometimes it means prove your commitment. Sometimes it means this is worth fighting for. If you quit every relationship when it gets hard, you'll never get married, because every relationship gets hard. The question is whether you're the kind of man who runs from hard things or runs through them. And maybe that's the real issue. Not the difficulty. The doubt about whether you can handle it. 6 lies. Just wait and she'll come to you. You need to be content being single first. God has one perfect person for you. Physical attraction shouldn't matter. You need to have it all together first. If it's from God, it will be easy. None of these are in the Bible, not the way they're taught. And believing them has kept good men single while they waited for permission they already had. Here's what Scripture actually teaches. Pursue actively while trusting God's sovereignty. Your desire for marriage is God-given, not an idol to overcome. Marriage is a covenant built, not a soulmate found. Attraction is part of God's design. You don't need perfection, you need faithfulness. And difficulty is not disqualification. Maybe you've been waiting for a sign. Maybe you've been shaming yourself for wanting what God designed you to want. Maybe you've been sitting in the tent when you should have been walking toward the well. He who finds a wife finds a good thing. The word is finds, not waits. Not receives, finds. So start looking, start pursuing, start building. Not because you have to earn a wife, but because that's what men do. They see something worth having, and they go after it.